Happy Friday, everyone! Welcome to our last lesson this week. And what we're going to do is continue on learning about percentages, and we're going to convert from fractions to percentages today. Again, we're hoping that 100% of us will understand how to do this. And thinking of 100%, what is that as a fraction? Well, hopefully you've all been saying it's 100 out of 100. Because percentage means out of 100, and the 100 is the number out of 100. So it's 100 out of 100. So we can simplify this. Hopefully you're all telling me if the numerator and the denominator is the same, it's equivalent to 1. Lovely. That means everyone is going to understand. Fingers crossed anyway. If you're unsure, feel free to reach out to either me or Mr. Cook in our afternoon chat. So, convert the fractions to percentages and convert the percentages to fractions. See if you can do this by yourself. Unpause when you're ready to hear the solutions. So, 35 out of 100 is 35%. Nice and simple. 62% is 62 out of 100. 99 out of 100 is 99%. And 7 out of 100 is 7%. So, doing it the other way around now, 41% is equivalent to 41 out of 100. 3% is equivalent to 3 out of 100. 37% is equivalent to 37 out of 100. And 10% is equivalent to 10 out of 100. And if you've realised that that can be simplified, well done, it can. The highest common factor, the number which is the biggest, which goes into both of these, is 10. So 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 100 divided by 10 is 10. So 1/10 is another equivalent fraction. Okay. So what percentage of the grid is shaded? Remembering that per means out of and cent is 100. So how many out of 100 is shaded? So I've got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I've got 17%, so 17 out of 100. And I can write that as a fraction. 17 out of 100. And I already know how to change from fractions to decimals, so I know that is 0.17. We've got our fraction, decimal and percentages all equivalent. Now this is slightly trickier because I've got it out of 10. When we were looking before, it was out of 100. It was all I needed to do is think about what that top number was out of 100 and change that directly to a percentage. Now I can't do that because it's not out of 100. I need to think about how I can change my denominator so it's out of 100. So to get from 10 to 100, I've actually had to multiply by 10. And I have to do the same to my numerator because it's equivalent. So 4 times 10 is 40 out of 100. They're equivalent fractions. 40 out of 100 is 40 out of 100, it's just saying it the same thing in a different way, which equals 40%. Have a go at this one by yourself and pause when you're ready to hear the solution. So, hopefully in front of you have a piece of paper or a whiteboard or something, and you have written on the solution. Please do try and follow along, join in, it's a better way to learn. So we've got 5 out of 10 is my fraction. However, that's not going to help me with percentages because percentages isn't out of 10, it's out of 100. So I need to change it so that my denominator is 100. So how am I going to do that? Well, again, to get from 10 to 100, I multiply by 10. I have to do the same to my numerator as I've done to my denominator. So I have to multiply my numerator by 10 as well. 5 times 10 is 50 out of 100, which is 50%. So, if I know that 50% is shaded, could you tell me what percent is unshaded? Well, remembering that percentages is out of 100, so it's a number bond. 50 and what number make 100? It's also 50. So 50 and 50 is 100. 50% is shaded, 50% is unshaded. Okay, we're getting slightly trickier now. How can I convert these fractions? 3/5 equals what out of 100? So how am I getting from 5 to 100? If I don't know this off the top of my head, remember I can do bus stop. So I see how many times 5 goes into 100. Find out what I can multiply by 5 to get to 100. So 5 does not go into 1, carry the 1. 5 does go into 10, it goes twice. Does 5 go into 0? No. So 5 times 20 is 100. 100 divided by 5 is 20, and if I did 100 divided by 20, it would be 5. Remember, these numbers are always linked. So 3/5 equals, multiply by 20, I have to do the same to my top number. What's it going to be? 3 times 20 is 60 out of 100. So 3/5 is 60 out of 100. Now I can do that as a percentage. It's 60%. And if I wanted to write it as decimal as well, it'd be 0.6. Lovely. Okay, have a go at these. This is a bit of a challenge. Unpause when you're ready to hear the solutions, but do try and do this by yourself. So something out of 100 is 77%. Well, it's 77 out of 100 is 77%. Because remember, percentage means out of 100. Let's do this one next. 1 over 5 equals something over 100. So how have I got from 5 to 100? Well, we just learnt that 5 times 20 is 100. So that's what I've done to my denominator. I do the same to my numerator. 1 times 20 equals 20 out of 100. And 20 out of 100 is 20%. Okay, something over 4 equals 75 over 100. I don't know what this is. So instead of multiplying, I'm actually dividing. I'm doing the inverse. So how many times does 4 fit into 100? Again, if I don't know, I can use my bus stop to figure out. So does 4 go into 1? No, it does not. Carry the 1. Does 4 go into 10? Yes, it does. How many times does 4 go into 10? Twice. We have 2 left over. Okay, how many times does 4 go into 20 then? Now I've carried the 2. It goes in 5 times. So to get from 4 to 100, I've multiplied by 25. If I wanted to get from 100 to 4, I would divide by 25. So I'm going to divide 75 by 25 to see what my numerator is. So it's counting 25 to see how many times it goes into 75. 25, 50, 75. It goes 3 times. 3/4 is the equivalent to 75 out of 100. And 75 out of 100 is 75%. Right. 1 out of something equals 5%. I don't know what this is. Wow, 5% I know is 5 out of 100. That section's done already. 5% is 5 out of 100. So how have I got from 1 to 5? I must multiply by 5. So again, I haven't got this number, but I've got this one. I'm going to have to use the inverse. How many times does 5 go into 100? It goes in 20 times. So 1/20 is equivalent to 5/100, which is 5%. Okay, next one. 17 out of 20 equals something over 100. So to get from 20 to 100, we've done it a few times now. We're multiplying by 5. I don't know what 17 times 5 off the top of my head is, so I'm just going to use some paper, what I can, to figure it out. So 17 times 5, you should be doing this as well if you haven't already. Write it out, do it with me. So 5 times 7 is 35, and 5 times 1 is 5. Add the 3, 85. So 17 over 20 is 85 over 100, which is the same as 85%. Right, this one is a challenge. I don't know how many times 8 fits into 100, and if I think about it, 8 doesn't go into 100. 8 is not a factor of 100. So how am I going to solve this? Well, I know an equivalent fraction of 2/8 is actually 1/4. If I've divided 8 by 2, and I've divided 2 by 2, it's an equivalent fraction. And I know that 4 does go into 100. We did it over here. It actually went in 25 times. 4 times 25 was 100. So again, we're going to do 4 times 25 to make my 100. And my numerator is now 1. So that is 1 times 25. 25 over 100, which equals 25%. Well done if you did get that first time around. Okay, I want you to have a go at these by yourself now that we've had a few practices. Unpause the video when you're ready to hear what the answers are. Do try and do them all by yourself though. Okay, you should have all of your answers in front of you. Please make sure you've done this first before listening on, otherwise we're not practicing the skill. So, half equals what? So, to get from 2 to 100, I need to multiply by 50. So I have to multiply the top number by 50 as well. 1 times 50 is 50%. A third, now this is a tricky one, is 33.3%. Because if I divide 100 by 3, see how many times it fits into, it's going to be a recurring number. 2/3, therefore, if 1/3 is 33.3%, 2/3 is 66.6%, well, 6 recurring. 1/4 is 25%. 1/5 is 20%. 2/5 are 40%. 3/5 are 60%. Can you see the pattern here? And 4/5, well, 1/5 is 20, 2/5 40, 3/5 are 60, 4/5 are going to be, you're right, they're going to be, why isn't it moving? It's going to be 80. There we are. 1/20 is 5%. If I know what 1/20 is, I also know what 3/20 are. Just need to multiply that by 3. It's 15%. 7/20 are 35%, and 9/20 are 45%. Well done if you got all of those. So, a little bit of problem reasoning now. 2/5 of the children at a school go in a car. 1/20 of the children cycle. 32% of the children get the bus. The rest of the children walk. What percentage of children walk to school? So, we're going to think about this as percentages. We're going to change them all so that we can work out the answer. So 2/5, what's that as a percentage? Try and figure that out by yourself and unpause when you're ready to hear the first bit. So to get from 5 to out of 100, how am I going to do that? Actually multiply it by 20, both the numerator and the denominator. So I'll do the same for the 2. The numerator is multiplied by 20. That's 40 out of 100. So I can shade in 40%. That's 10%. That's 20%. Great colouring as ever by Miss Beeston. This is 30%. And this is 40%. 40%. 20 out of 100 are now all shaded in. And that's the number of children who go to school by car. Okay, lovely. Right, now it's 1/20th of children cycle. How am I going to figure that one out? Have a go by yourself and unpause when you're ready to hear. So for 1/20th of children cycle, you had 1/20, that cycle. To get from 20 to 100, how am I doing that? Well, I multiply by 5. I've multiplied the denominator by 5. I have to also multiply the numerator by 5 because it's an equivalent fraction. 1 times 5 is 5 out of 100. So let's colour that in. 1 out of 20 children cycle. That's just 5 squares coloured in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Done now. Now let's have 32% of children get the bus. Well, I already know what that is as a percentage. It's 32 out of 100. So I'm just going to shade in 32 more. I'm going to do it this as easy as 10. 20%, 20 out of 100. That's 30%, that's 30 out of 100. That's my 2. 32% of children walk. So, what percentage of children, sorry, that was get the bus. The rest walk to school. What percentage of children walk to school? Have we figured that out yet? Well, you just need to count them up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We've got 23% of children walk to school. 23 out of 100 as a fraction. And if I wanted to write it as a decimal, well, we know how to do this, don't we? 0.23. Okay, what I want you to do now, you have got some games on Purple Mash, but I want you to have a go at this. I've said this is green level, yellow level, red level, but you might all want to start at green level and then work your way up until you can get to the really hard level, which is working improper fractions. So first level is just unit fractions, some easy one. Then we've got some multi-part fractions. That's where it's the numerator is not just 1. And we've got some harder unit fractions, multi-part fractions, and improper fraction. If you can remember what an improper fraction is, it's where my numerator is bigger than my denominator. So if my numerator is bigger than my denominator, it's going to be over 100%. So have a go at these. Good luck with them. What you're going to do is you're going to match your fractions to the decimals to the percentages by dragging like the jigsaw pieces. So I know that 20% is 20 out of 100. Do I have 20 out of 100? What would it be equivalent to? Well, it's actually also the same as 0.2, which is the same as 1/5. So good luck with these, and I will see you all at 2:30. Bye guys, have a lovely weekend as well if I don't see you for any reason, and have, do well with your work. Bye guys.